A few weeks ago, I made a video asking some questions from an American to British people now that I've been living in the UK for almost 2 years now, and the amount of responses I got in the comments were amazing. I truly got the answers to every single question that I asked in my video, all the things that I've been wondering about, so I thought I would share them with you all in case any of you were wondering some of the same things. So the first question I asked was, what do you respond to "you alright" as a greeting? My instinct as an American is to always respond, "I'm good, how are you?" because that's what we'd say in the States, but I feel like that's not the right response. In the comments, I got a few responses explaining that the greeting question is just rhetorical and you can respond by saying the exact same thing back, or by saying yes thanks or fine thanks. The next question was, what's the deal with your obsession with weather conversations? I've never lived somewhere where the weather was such a popular topic of discussion. This one had a ton of responses in the comments, all basically saying the same thing. Because the weather changes so much here in the UK, people love to talk about it. It's one of the places in the world where the weather is truly unpredictable, not only on a day-to-day basis, but also within the same day. It can start off gray and cloudy, be sunny midday, and then rain in the evening. You never know what you're gonna get here, which I guess makes sense why people love to talk about it because it's always changing. I'm from LA where the weather is pretty much the exact same year-round, sunny and 75 degrees, so it's not something that people really talk about. The next question was, why haven't you embraced dryers? My guess was because of the space issue. Since UK apartments tend to be a lot smaller than American ones, people would just prefer to not take up so much space with a dryer and just hang dry stuff. But in the comments, multiple people put the reason why they don't use a dryer and why a lot of people in the UK don't is because the cost to run them. Electricity is crazy expensive here in the UK, so running a dryer just doesn't make financial sense. It's better to save money and hang dry, which completely makes sense because they are right. My electricity bill here is way higher than any place I've ever lived in the States. The next was, does everyone love tea here as much as they claim? And honestly, this is the response that shocked me the most. I had a few die-hard tea fans, tea lovers in the comments, but a lot of people were pretty much meh about it, saying that coffee is becoming more popular and that the tea culture in the UK is slowly dying out. So I wonder if it's a generational thing, like people my dad's age who were born in the 60s probably still love drinking tea. I know my dad has at least 3 to 4 cups a day, but maybe the younger generation has switched to coffee or just isn't as big of a fan of the tea culture anymore. It's very interesting. The next question I asked was, why don't houses have air conditioning here? And I knew I was gonna get a lot of hate for this one, and people were immediately going to respond saying AC isn't needed here in the UK, and I stand by my statement that maybe that was true a few hundred years ago, but it's definitely needed now. There are plenty of summer days where I would have loved to turn on my AC, sit comfortably in my own house rather than sweat so much, especially overnight, and I guessed correctly in the comments. Everyone said AC isn't needed here, just open up a window, use a fan, you're fine. A few people added in the comments about how expensive electricity is, again, just like the dryer situation, which could be the reason as well, but I think culturally the British people think that they don't need the AC, so they're just never really gonna embrace it. The next question was, why are public holidays called bank holidays and why are there fewer of them compared to the US? The first answer I could have guessed, just because the banks are closed. I still think it's funny though because our banks are closed on those days too in the States, but we still just call them public holidays. We don't call them bank holidays. But no one really answered the second part of that question, which is, why are there less than in the US? Which I guess no one would really know unless they're in the UK government. I'm just shocked because, like I said in the questions video, everyone loves to rag on the States, saying we have the worst vacation policies, we work so much, blah, 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 we have no days off, but it's interesting that we have more public holidays than we do here in the UK. The next question was kind of 2 parts. Why do British people love queuing so much? Or do you not love queuing so much and you just do it? I truly have never seen such organized queuing in my entire life, and the responses were all pretty much the same, because it's polite. And of course, I know that. I wasn't suggesting that you cut people online. I know that it's polite. We wouldn't do that in the States, but it just meant you guys queue for everything, so it's just really funny. I guess you guys are just more organized because back in the States, I don't think I've ever seen a single file line of people waiting at a bus stop to board the bus. So it's usually just a crowd of people. So it definitely is a better system for sure. The next one was pretty controversial in the comments. Why isn't Amazon that popular here? Some people disagreed with me and said it was pretty popular. And to those people, I respond by saying, if you think it's popular here, you should definitely go to the States because it is nothing compared to how popular it is over there. The more surprising and overwhelming comment, in my opinion, was that Amazon is evil, you should only buy local. And I thought that was interesting because people seemed to still prefer to walk to a local shop rather than easily order something online and just have it delivered to you the next day. Very interesting. The next question was, why do TV licenses exist? The idea of paying a TV license to fund public broadcasting is just insane to me. I just don't know how it's legal. And the answers in the comments were kind of split on this one as well. Half of the comments agreed with me and said, it's insane, it's outdated, we shouldn't be paying for it. So I liked that. And others seemed okay with paying for it because it funds the BBC. So based on these reactions, I personally think if you want to support the BBC, sure, go ahead, pay the TV license, but I don't think everyone should be forced to pay it. That's so crazy. The next question was, why do British people apologize so much even when it's not their fault? This one had probably the least amount of responses in the comments compared to the other questions, but the few responses all basically said the same things, simply that it's polite. Again, I don't disagree with that. Of course, it's polite to apologize when you do something wrong, but I guess I'll never truly understand the apologizing culture when you didn't do anything wrong. The next question was, do you think the UK will ever fully embrace either the metric or imperial system, or do you think it'll always remain a mixture of both? The answers were pretty unanimous on this one, that there will probably always be a slight mixture of both, but slowly the imperial system is fading out and getting overtaken by the metric system, which definitely makes sense since the majority of the world does use the metric system. The next question was two parts. Why do school uniforms seem so common here? And why are they so fancy? People really only answered the first question by saying school uniforms are to stop the differentiation of rich to poor children, keep everyone looking the same, which again, I get, obviously. It's a little odd to me that every school has them though, since only private schools wear uniforms back in the States, not public schools, but I do get it. But nobody really answered the second part of my question. Why are they so fancy? Like blazers and dress shoes, are they really necessary for kids? You can have uniforms that are just tan pants, polo shirts, sneakers, let the kids be a little comfier. And the last question was also two parts. What's the story behind your love for Sunday roast, and why can you only get them on Sundays? And nearly everyone said it needed to be Sundays because nobody worked, so they would have all day to cook, just be with family, hang out, eat. But people did emphasize that nowadays a lot of pubs will allow you to order a Sunday roast any day of the week. If you have anything else to add about these questions or answers, please throw them in the comments. I love reading them. I always learn so much about British culture. So now let's take a look at why I decided to move to the UK in the first place.